Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Curiosity Exchange podcast. I am your host and guest, producer, editor, overall guy, Ish Berry. And with me today's guest is a true powerhouse in every sense of the word. She is a retired IFBB pro, a woman who didn't just compete in bodybuilding, she mastered it, earning her pro card in the highly competitive world of the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness is no small feat. It takes resilience, discipline, sacrifice, and elite mindset, and she built her legacy through all three. From intense training camps to stepping under the bright lights of the Olympia, she understands what it takes to perform at the highest level. But today, we're going deeper than the trophies and stage presence. We're talking about the nutrition, the science, the strategy, the meal plans, the sacrifices, the mental discipline, all around food, and what fueling your body really looks like when your physique is your profession. This is a conversation about dedication, intensity, transformation, and life beyond competition. Please help me welcome the incredible IFBB pro, Asha Hadley. How was that intro?
Good.
Thank you.
I was like, wow.
I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday morning. And I don't know why it feels like it's Monday.
I could feel it as being a Monday, but yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah. And I woke up this morning, I'm just like, because I want to go see my barber, but my barber shop's closed on Mondays. I was like, dang, is it because no, today's Tuesday, so it's open. So I'm going to leave, go see my barber, and then go run some other errands and whatnot. I was like, yeah, what's going on? Oh, man. Well, first off, since the last podcast, I just want to ask you generally, how's retirement been?
Retirement has been good. I think I've got into my groove. It took me a while to adjust, but I'm in the groove of retirement,
Nice.
at least from bodybuilding.
Okay. Cool. Do you still overall keep up with the sport?
I do. I don't keep super close tabs on what's going on, but I do keep up, to the basics.
Gotcha. Good. But let's just dive on. Actually, you know what? Before we dive into the questions, because I don't want to forget the fan questions, because I did get 2 people to come in and submit. So
Cool.
Let's knock those out first. Okay, here we go. So these 2 questions are from my buddy and also bodybuilding fan, Crystal Blacklight. Question 1. What foods have you eaten that you know of that reverses general ailments that most people have?
Ooh, I'm gonna say fruits and vegetables. I'm gonna put on my registered dietitian hat for that one and not the bodybuilding hat.
Gotcha.
But, fruits and vegetables have a lot of compounds that are very, very beneficial to just maintaining and optimizing your overall health. So the more plant-based foods, and not to get on like a whole, vegetarian vegan thing, but having a good percentage of your foods come from plant-based foods that are minimally processed, the healthier you are typically.
Okay, that makes sense. And I guess too, like with ailments, like it depends on the specific ailment too. Would depend on like.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna throw something out there. Like if I'm suffering from, arthritis, then there's a certain group of fruits and vegetables that would help with that, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And question 2: is there a diet that you recommend that would fuel someone on a cellular level?
That's a good one, man. You got some good questions. Typically, I'm gonna go with that like higher percentage of plant-based foods in your diet. The less ultra-processed foods you have in your diet, the less highly processed meats you have in your diet, typically the better health outcomes are.
Nice.
overall.
Okay. Yeah, those were 2 good questions. Nice. And thank you, Crystal, for bringing those in. And I guess too, that would depend on the second question, like what specific goal are you trying to obtain? You know, is it
Yes,
fat loss?
absolutely.
Is it, you know, muscle building, which we'll get into and so forth? Is it, you know, thinning out, leaning out? Depend on what specific groups you need to eat.
Very, very true. And one of the things that I always tell my clients that I see as a dietitian when they ask me general nutrition questions is it depends.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It depends
that
on
makes
your
sense.
goals, your health history, you know, what you're trying to maintain or work on. So the answer could be here or there.
Makes sense. All right, so let's get into it. So, when you were competing, what did a typical full day of eating look like in your off season versus prep?
Ooh, I'll do prep because
Okay.
that's easier, more
Okay.
structured. So prep was typically for me either 5 to 6 meals a day.
Like full
And-
meals?
I mean, they were small.
Okay, but-
Everything's portion controlled
That's
and
right,
measured
yeah.
and things like that during prep. So, you know, a meal breakfast was, and I was just looking this up. It was 5 ounces of egg whites, a quarter cup of oats,
Wow.
and some cinnamon sprinkled on there.
Okay.
And then throughout the day, it was chicken and vegetables, or rice cakes, or a shake type of thing. In the off season, if I was good in following an off-season plan,
Yeah.
it was similar to that, but with larger amounts of food, a little bit more variety. Otherwise, it's kind of like no holds barred. So
Yeah, because off season, I mean, you can indulge a little. You head to the
Yeah.
rodeo, get you some burgers,
Exactly,
some ribs,
yeah.
you know? It's rodeo season now, you know?
some fried whatever.
Yeah, some fried Pop-Tarts or whatever crazy shenanigans they have going on there. All right. So how drastically did your calories drop during prep?
Not too much because you don't want to lose too much
Okay.
mass or anything like that. You have to feed your mass. So my calories probably stayed maybe around 1,600 calories, which is
That's not bad, yeah.
still pretty on the low side for somebody who's, gosh, when I was training, I was probably like around 180 pounds plus.
Yeah.
Protein was extremely high though.
Ah, okay.
So protein, I was getting 200 plus grams a day.
Wow. And just side question, how were you getting your protein? I know everybody's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would prefer shakes, meat, whatever, but you specifically, how were you getting your
Primarily, it was chicken, egg whites, and a small percentage from protein shakes, but
Okay.
mostly meat.
protein? Okay. What's the biggest misconception about female bodybuilding diets?
I don't know that there are any. I think bodybuilders talk about their food a lot.
Yeah.
So I think people get an idea of what we eat. You know, they're always like, you're eating chicken, rice, and broccoli, and that's pretty much what we eat. I mean, we don't necessarily talk about measuring, I guess, a lot. But
Yeah.
stuff is measured, so
That's
we eat
true.
crazy stuff sometimes, crazy mixtures of things. So
I guess one question I run into is I have a lot of friends who aren't into the sport. You know, they're not fans, but they respect it, but they know I'm into it, so they'll come and ask me some questions. And I guess like they think that like you guys on both the men and women's side like just eat everything. Like yeah, I just hit up buffets and just start. I'm like, nah, it's not
no,
like
no.
that. It's super structured.
Yeah.
Like, no, and like you said, like the portions, like it's an exact science down to the portions of everything. X amount of fish, X amount of broccoli, X amount of rice. And for some people, if it's off a little bit, that can actually change your body and how they feel and everything. Like it's the science. It's like, oh wow,
It
like
is,
yeah,
yeah.
like it's crazy. And not everyone sees the stage look, but they don't see the suffering. So moving on to our next segment, how low did your calories get at your leanest? So you kind of say earlier, like 1,600-ish?
yeah, they probably went down a little bit below that.
Okay.
But not far, because then you start to burn into your muscle. You've pretty much burned
that's
all the
right.
fat.
Yeah.
Then you start to eat into your muscle, which is your size, and that's what you're being, judged on. So
Gotcha. And how did you manage hunger and cravings? I mean, it's bad for you, especially living out
white
here in
knuckling
Houston.
it. There's some crazy things that happen to people or me, I could say for myself, that you start doing or thinking about when you're hungry. For me, it was looking at food pictures. I would go on Pinterest and save pictures of things that
Wow.
I wanted to eat later.
That makes sense. Okay.
You know, on my cheat day or after a show, eating a lot of, or drinking a lot of water, a lot of 0-calorie drinks. I didn't do a lot of that towards the end of my competing. I kind of stuck to water, but
Okay.
I used to like really down the Crystal Light and stuff.
That makes sense. Wow. Okay. Because I know me, for the average person, like if I'm trying to fast, I'm hungry. It's like the least little thing takes me off. It's like,
Yeah. You're hangry a lot, and like counting the minutes to your next meal. So.
and then it's like I've kind of gotten into intermittent fasting, so I try to make sure when I do, it's not when I'm at work. You know, because I'm gonna go off and then get myself fired or in trouble. It's like a day like I'm off,
Yeah,
or
you
maybe
gotta
like
manage
tomorrow,
that.
like I'm not doing or going anywhere tomorrow. So if I do fast tomorrow, that's cool. I'm at home. Something happens, I can just scream, yell, punch a
Right,
wall,
right.
whatever. It's not gonna mess with anything, you know. So what role did cheat meals play in your prep?
Cheat meals play, I would say, 3 really important roles. One's the psychological role of just having a break from eating the same monotonous meals over
Yeah.
and over and over again. I mean, you get a meal plan and that is what you eat, the 5 or
Yeah.
10 things on there. So having something to look forward to and to change things up really helps mentally. Metabolically, it helps to keep your metabolism running a little bit better. You get a little bit more fats, a little bit more carbs, so you replete or get more glycogen in your muscles, feel a little bit better, more energetic. The third thing is hormone related. So you've got those main hormones that regulate hunger and satiety, or satiety meaning the feeling of fullness.
Okay.
So when you are restricted in your eating, those hormones tend to get shifted. So your body's like, we're not eating enough. Let's increase those hunger hormones. Let's decrease those satiety or fullness hormones. When you get that cheat meal, it allows your body to kind of rebalance those. So you're
Gotcha.
not starving all the time or feeling like I just ate, but I'm still hungry type of feeling. So
Makes sense.
cheat meals do a lot of things other than just give you something interesting to eat.
Makes sense. Okay. That makes sense. All right. And what's your honest opinion on extreme depletion strategies before stepping on stage?
So depletion is necessary. Extreme depletion is something that probably shouldn't happen if you have a good prep.
Okay.
If you have a good coach, you're following what you should be doing. You shouldn't have to put yourself in extreme danger to get to stage ready. But you do have to deplete salt, fluids, things like that, carbs,
Yeah.
or increase carbs a little bit before you step on stage. So the extreme stuff shouldn't be necessary, but it's like one of those things that you gotta do.
Yeah. Bodybuilding isn't all about Marcos. It's about hormones and long-term health. How does prep impact hormones for women?
Ooh, nothing good, I would say.
Dang.
So in bodybuilding, you're really trying to manipulate a lot of your hormones, whether it's with outside PEDs and things like that. So you're taking your hormones to levels that they're not naturally meant to be at or want to be at.
Gotcha.
So just that is dangerous, and you really have to be careful and knowledgeable of what you're doing when you start doing that. There's a lot of consequences to messing with that.
Gotcha. All right. So what should female athletes watch out for in terms of long-term health?
You really got to look at the risk and long-term risks for what you're doing. I think being knowledgeable, working with a coach that's knowledgeable and knowing what can happen Using any type of hormone manipulation or PEDs, you risk kidney and liver damage.
That's right.
Cardiovascular damage, your heart health can suffer. Permanent hormone damage, infertility, things like that. A lot of times we think about the aesthetic things. We have hair loss or hair on our face, or your facial features change. Not just big muscles and things like that, but there's a lot that goes on inside that you really have to monitor. And if you don't, then you can end up messing yourself up permanently.
Gotcha. So, what are some post-show rebound risks?
Rapid weight gain, for one.
Wow.
Because people, when you go into prep, all those things happen to your body that I mentioned earlier, and it really primes your body to put that weight back on quickly because you've lost a lot of weight. And the body doesn't like to change by nature. It likes to stay, even keel. So when it sees your weights going down, it wants to put that weight back on. So if you start eating with no plan or reckless abandonment, then your weight goes up very high very quickly. So that you have to be careful with. One of the other things I think is just body dysmorphia and viewing yourself differently and not maybe being happy with your off-season self or off-stage self, and that can cause other issues too.
Yeah, I've kind of seen that firsthand through social media. Like I've seen athletes on both the women and women's side, they'll post a picture or something after a contest, and people in the comments are like, "Oh, you look good, you look great," and it's like, "Thanks, but I look like crap." And I'm like, "No," again, it's by as much like you still look better than the general population. There's people out here walking that would kill to have your off-season look. You know what I mean? And you're out here like, "Well, thanks, fans, but I look like crap. I can't wait till the next prep." And I'm like, golly, but
it's a crazy thing. It's something that you kind of have to have as a bodybuilder because your goal is to always get better.
Yeah.
So you have to look at yourself and say that needs to improve. That needs to improve. But on the flip side, it could be harmful.
Yeah. Wow. Advice to young female competitors. And overall general advice.
Educate yourself as much as you can. Work with a knowledgeable coach. I can't stress that enough.
Okay.
And then take your time. Don't try to rush it. More is not better. Whether it's workouts, supplements, extracurricular things.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding takes a while. There's a reason why a lot of women's bodybuilders are older ladies. I've competed into my 40s. A lot of us are the current competitors are in their 30s and 40s. It takes a while to get there if you want to get to that extreme. But even, physique and things like that, it takes a while. So give yourself time to allow your body to develop and get there.
Yeah, well, so saying it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. It is.
No, and me being a fan of it, like I've noticed, like I think some of if I was to name my top favorite bodybuilders, whether male or female side, I would say their best looks are all, like you said, in their 40s. You know what I'm saying? Like I take you for example. To me, your best physique. Oh, I forgot what year it was, but it was a year where you had the Mustang. You came on the podcast back when you was at that other location with the lounge you had on the green top. You looked it fantastic, and I think you were around like just under 200 pounds or something. Yeah, it's like, but like you said, like what you were.
I was in my early 40s then.
Yeah.
So that was like 2021, I think, or 2020.
Sounds about. Actually, let me pause. I got the pictures on my external drive, so I could, because now I just want to know just for.
Because I got my Bronco in 2022.
Yeah, and this one, like everything was all messed up from the
COVID.
Yeah, November 3rd, 2021.
So I was 40.
Yeah. Remember these?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at my arms. Yep.
No CGI, nothing. No CGI, nothing. Bring back up my questions. Do you think female competitors are pressured into getting too lean?
I don't think so. I think it's just, it's the industry.
Yeah.
You have to be lean. You're a competitor. You're competing against the next person, and I think we only get so lean. Muscularity is increased and hardness and things like that. So
Yes, it has.
that's something that's progressed, but just overall leanness, I think we've always been pretty lean.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've noticed that even especially now on the men's side, 'cause I see so many articles and people on podcasts talking about that, like, these are people's opinions that, let's say, Ronnie's generation of Olympia competitors would beat this generation's Olympia competitors because, they would focus on size, but not so much. It was more the symmetry and the aesthetic, and it's kind of
different,
lost that, where women's bodybuilding just kind of evolved. It's like there's a lot of big girls now, but they're keeping the leanness and the symmetry though for the most part. So it's like, let's see here. So you eventually stepped away from the stage, and that transition can be harder than prep itself. How did your nutrition change after retirement?
It went on kind of a roller coaster.
Okay.
So I retired, and I was kind of forced to retire because I had some health things that I had to prioritize. So it was just kind of throwing, without a plan, yourself into retirement. And I think that I was eating without a plan then. So my weight kind of went up and put on a little bit more fat. And then I found a groove where I was like, get back into eating somewhat like your contest prep. I think competitors will always kind of default to that more disciplined type of eating and lifestyle and things like that. So, getting back into the chicken, rice, and broccoli more often.
Well, especially you
ended
still do marathons and stuff, so you still got to watch things and still with the chicken, rice, and broccoli, especially if you're getting ready for one of your marathons, which that's just crazy. So you're not out here binging and going to Kroger and buying the whole Oreo section.
No. I did that, but now I've gotten away from that.
So, how did your body image shift after competing?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So back to like the body dysmorphia thing, I think as competitors, and I guess I can say this for myself, not speak for everybody, but I always kind of view myself as the best version of me, the me that's about to step on stage and not necessarily the off-season me.
Gotcha.
So getting used to your body changing and not being stage ready all the time and reminding yourself, hey, you're not going to look like that. Mentally, that's tough. It was tough for me.
Wow.
And it was something that took a while to get used to.
Gotcha. Ah, man, the things you don't know people like deal with and go through. Man. So how did you finally just kind of like come to terms with it?
For me, it was just getting back into training again, getting back onto that kind of like a contest prep lifestyle where you're eating regularly, you're working out, you're seeing yourself change, not necessarily towards stage ready, but, and then just kind of mentally getting in that headspace where you're not going to be, ripped with veins all over all the time.
Gotcha. And that kind of leads me to my next question too. So what was the hardest part about transitioning away from stage level conditioning?
The mental part. And for me, it was going in the gym and not being able to lift the same amount of weight.
Oh, yeah, that's got to, I think about it like that. Dang, that's got, especially like for the ego trip part of it too. Like, oh man, that's got to stink.
Like picking up the 20s when you used to pick up the 40s and 50s and feeling like, oh man, this is where I am now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a normal person. Wow.
Yeah, that was a big shift for me. And I remember talking to Brad, my husband, about it. I was like, is this what mortals feel like in the gym? This is hard stuff.
Shout out to one of my coworkers. I think I told you about this cat before. My coworker KP, he came across one of your videos a while back. This was years ago, back when you were competing, and he think you were doing a leg press, and he saw the video, and then like we came into work the next day, and he was like, "Ish, you know that Asha Hadley woman, right?" I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Man, she just launched a Physique." He's like, "I think he counted the weight from the best he could from the video, because you know it's taking it from all different angles." And he was like, "Man, she's leg pressing like well over 200 pounds." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what bodybuilders do." And like, I mean, he's just like, "That's crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "You see all those plates?" And like, he brought up the video, like, we're trying to count. I was like, okay, each plate is 45. And I was like, then you factor in the machine itself. Yeah, and that's how much. I was like, yeah, that's like going into the 300, you know.
6 or 7 plates on each side of the leg press machine.
That sounds about right when we counted.
And now I do 3. I get up to 5 right now. I cap myself off at 5 because my knees are aging. So
same here. That's why I like when you post up memes and videos of like getting old and the check engine light. I relate to that so much. I'm like, oh yeah, like the being young and taking your youth for granted. It's like I'm never gonna get old, and not saying that we're old, but getting up there, it's like okay, my knees are starting to pop. Okay, I can't stand in long lines waiting to get in venues anymore without a little chair. Like those days are over. So, what advice would you give competitors about reversing out of a show properly?
Don't go crazy. Have a plan. And if you're planning on competing again, or competing within that same season or going into your off season, you want to have that controlled decline, because it's just going to make it easier for you to get ready for your next prep. If you let it all go, it gets harder and harder every prep to reel it back in. So, work with your coach in the off season. Your coach is not just a prep coach. It's a 365 coach.
See, I never thought about that, because like I always picture myself like if I was a bodybuilder, I would be that guy. It's like, okay, this is my last contest of the season. It's over. Okay, we sure we're good. I'm not doing anything else. Okay, yes. Hello, Domino's. I need 50 pizzas and like hello. Yeah, 80. I need the fried chicken ready. Okay, like come on. But that makes sense though. Things you don't think about from a competitor's point of view.
Yeah, you get a meal or two or a day or two, but people like Andrea Shaw.
Yeah.
She'll have one meal or a treat, and then next morning you see her in the gym at the hotel. Wow. On her stuff again.
Dang.
So you can't take a lot of downtime, because then it's like running a race. You let off the gas and somebody else is going to pass you. That's
true, but I mean, like the very next day, like for Olympia competitors, the Olympia is the last show. So you telling me after the Olympia, okay, have a little
it's time
something,
to plan for next
and
year.
then the gym, the hotel gym the next day, where it's like
with her waist trainer on. I was like, man, just let it out for a minute.
Yeah,
let it out.
Like, come on, like.
No,
wow,
she's awesome. She's
I haven't met her in person yet, but I've heard. I mean, just from me being a fan, watching on social media, she's a great ambassador of the sport, and I've heard great things about her, behind the scenes and stuff. Because I asked everybody, I was like, hey, oh, she's cool as cucumber, man. She's great. Like, I hope I run into her one day. That's a crazy mindset. Like, everybody else planning there having this big grandiose breakfast and starting back to get the bacon, sausage, and she's probably had her bowl of oatmeal and then down at the gym working out. That's crazy. So now let's talk about the stage, because this year's Olympia bought more than just physiques. So I'm going to paraphrase, well, actually, just for time constraint, we're about to get into something. And for anyone out there who don't know what's going on, I suggest y'all to Google it. There's been tons of media coverage on this on all of the bodybuilding outlets from RX Muscle and Nick Strength and Power covered it. What's the other? Generation Iron and so forth. So basically there was big heated rivalry at the Olympia in the women's physique division between, what were the ladies' names?
Sarah and Natalia.
Yeah, Sarah and Natalia. Exactly. So on the rivalry itself, what was your perspective on the rivalry between Sarah and Natalia?
I think the rivalry is fine. I think the public side of that was kind of like a SMH kind of moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was, and I want to say, by the way, just show notes, because like you competed in physique, so that was where you started, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, you started in physique. Yeah,
technically, I started in figure.
That's right. Yeah. But you had a great, like a long run in physique before getting over to open bodybuilding. And I gotta agree with you when it's a shock whenever there's like an upset, if you will, and I guess everybody can agree, like it was an upset.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get on the internet the next day or 24 hours later, and then Sarah's throwing jabs. She's shooting slugs. And it's like, oh. It's like, do you think the rivalries help or hurt the sport?
I think rivalries always help sports in general. And one of the things, like when this was playing out, I always, for some reason, like to compare bodybuilding to pro sports, because bodybuilders, we in the IFBB, we're professional athletes, but compare yourself to the NFL or compare the IFBB to the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL. Do you see a lot of players in their post-game conferences calling out particular players
Not
like
really.
that? Very rarely do you see that. They may make a general comment, there were some calls or there was a situation that, I don't agree with, type of thing. So if you want to be respected like a professional athlete and those pro leagues, you got to act like that too.
Makes sense.
So the other thing about that is the judges make the decisions.
That's true.
And yeah, you could be mad at her for looking like that, but who picked her? She didn't pick herself.
That's a good point. And to add to your point about the NFL, one thing I see is that players and coaches in their interviews, they'll talk about the refs. They'll say, hey, that was, and they have to be careful with their words because they don't want to get fined.
Right.
But if you take apart, dissect what they're saying, they're saying, hey, the ref, that's just like, my friend brings it up every so often because he hates the New Orleans Saints, but several years ago, that divisional game between the Saints and the Chargers, that pass interference call, the ref screwed the Saints out going back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody, even if you hate the New Orleans Saints, you hate the state of Louisiana, you can see that was a bad call. They should that shouldn't have hurt them like that. But you're right. Yeah, the judges made the call, and it's like, what can you do? Speaking of judging, was the judging fair in your opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was, because judging it's surface level only. They look at you and they're like, I see that this person looks better than this one. It's not looking at what you did or how your prep was or anything like that. They don't look at or consider any of that. It's just how you show up right there. If you don't flex or if you breathe wrong and you look bad, that's going to count against you.
But don't smile.
Right.
Smile is important. People don't realize.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And the same thing goes for going back to the other major sports like NFL and NBA. Like, no one looks at how an athlete gets their skill set. Let's take LeBron. Everyone knows LeBron spent millions of dollars on his training, having the best chefs, the best trainers. He does cryotherapy, but reps in the NBA don't care about that. It's like, hey, that's
Correct.
good for him. He's doing it so he can still, at his age, compete at a highest level, especially against all these youngsters that are in the NBA now. But he doesn't. But that's not counted against him on the court. You know, what's counted against him on the court is what he does on the court.
Right.
You know?
And you don't see other players complaining about the stuff that he does, or like Tom Brady or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Brady eats this diet. You know, that's why he, won however many Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I'm an athlete. I'm like, well, if he's eating that, maybe I should eat that too. You know what I mean? Like, I want to win a Super Bowl. Let me eat that. As a veteran of the sport, how would you advise athletes to handle public disagreements?
Keep it professional. And that's something else. I'm airing my pet peeves about bodybuilding. And also comparing it to other pro sports. Keep it professional. I think in bodybuilding, sometimes there's a lack of professionalism that maybe hurts the respect for the sport and the ability for the sport to be seen as a true pro sport.
Yeah. Well, today also, some people, and I debate with this myself, some people would say bodybuilding in a sense is more of a pageant than a sport. Now, granted, the physical things you athletes do, that would be, because like weightlifting in general, like weightlifting alone is its own sport.
Right.
But then it's like when you get on stage, yes, the posing is hard and everything that gets glitz and the glam that goes into it, but it's like at the end of the day, like you said in the last question, you're being judged. So like, is it really a sport or a pageant or a hybrid of both? You know what I mean? Like, that's the question.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's one of those things you gotta. That's a conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode. Actually, you know what? That might be a good topic to have with the panel of people. I have to write that one down.
That is a good panel one.
Yeah, that's definitely a good panel one. So we've seen some shows drop female bodybuilding divisions entirely, and that's alarming to a lot of us fans. I know it was alarming to me when I woke up earlier this year, and I was like, "What? Dropping shows? The hell?" So, why do you think some promoters are dropping the female bodybuilding division?
I think it's numbers, participation numbers, for one, and money. The economy is not what it used to be.
Tell me about it.
So that affects it. The IFBB is a business.
Yeah.
It's a private business, and they can do whatever the heck they want.
True.
So, and female bodybuilding is not their big moneymaker. That's unfortunate, but it's.
I hate to hear that, but it's true. Like, as a fan,
it is true.
It's the hard pill to swallow truth.
It's also not, and I try to look at these things from outside of just being in the bodybuilding world. Female bodybuilders are not marketable to the mainstream either.
Yeah.
So, we're extreme figures. We're not the mainstream look.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's not what they want to look at or see. They think it's weird or freakish or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's a numbers thing. Another thing, I was talking with Brad, and he brought up a good point. Back when like Linda competed, there was only a couple shows.
That's true. Yeah, I remember that.
So you had to get in when you could. And I think they're kind of going back to that. We had a whole bunch of shows, but everybody was so spread out.
Yeah.
We need to kind of get it together ourselves and say, hey, we've got this show, this show, this show. Get everybody in and compete. It's
That's
not when I feel like competing, or I'm gonna prep, but I'm not quite ready for April, but maybe June type of thing.
Yeah.
You get ready and you go.
Yeah, to your point, like you said in the last segment, I mean, in other sports, hey, it's time to play.
Right, you gotta play.
Suit up and head to the arena, stadium, or whatever.
So plan your year accordingly and get in the show. And if we get more women competing, we can have more shows. But
yeah, that's true too. But then that kind of goes back to like mainstream. Like, take a lot of my friends and stuff, for example. They respect the fact that I admire female body, but to most of my friends, the look that they would say that they would, like women say that they would go for, or men say that they would, date would probably be figure on, down to, then you get the bikini wellness and now the new fit model, and it's like, but anything kind of above figure, it's like, okay, respect the dedication, the discipline, but not my cup of tea so much, or that's something cool to see every once in a while, to see a walking real life She-Hulk, but that's what you want to see every day per se. Do you think the industry supports female bodybuilders enough?
I don't think so. And again, I think it boils down to what the public wants and what brings the money.
Yeah.
They're moving away from it because it's not what most of the public wants, and it's not where the money's being made.
Yeah. That's true. At some point, someone's got to get together in a conference room and brainstorm. It's like, what can we do to put more eyes on it? You know what I'm saying? Like, but then.
So the other thing is, the bigger women get, the more you get into how are they getting that big? And
that's true.
Is this, what are they doing?
That's true.
And then you get into the legality of it, which is,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to put that out on Front Street and be like, hey, this is.
That's a good point. Yeah. Hey, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah. Wow.
Because it is what it is. I mean, figure, bikini, what is it, wellness, fit model. You could get away with the magazine covers and, that person works out a lot. They eat good. But once you get into physique and bodybuilding, that's not working out and eating well. That's some other stuff.
Yeah.
And that other stuff, bottom line, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
So do you want to put billboards of these people out there? Especially women.
Yeah.
Guys get a pass, I think, because...
And that's the jacked up part. I'm trying to make this a G episode as much as I can, but that's the messed up part.
But even so, you don't see, the open men's bodybuilders quite marketed like, what is it?
Physique and the 212 and all the lower categories.
So the bigger you are, I think the less they want to put that out there.
True. I mean, even to your point though, like with men's open bodybuilding, because again, like just using my friends because I have a lot of, like, I'm the weirdo of all my friends. Like I'm not one of like extreme sports and things to the extreme. And so like a lot of my friends are like, they'll look at like, even just taking it back old school, they'll look at a picture of Ronnie Coleman in his time. If they come to my house and see like stuff on my wall or whatever, it's like, oh wow, he looks great, man, and some women I know be like, oh yeah, I would date him, and then some men, some of my guy friends like, man, I wish I had a dedication to look like a Ronnie Coleman, but then no one really says like, I really don't have any female friends outside by that say, hey, I would want to look like Rashana Boswell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, nothing against Rashana. That's the homie. She's cool. But, you get to your point, that extreme, it's like, damn, like that's kind of everyone's entitled to their opinion and their choice or whatever, but it's like, that's kind of a double standard, If a woman says, well, I would date a Ronnie Coleman, but I wouldn't want to look like a Rashana Boswell. Well, they're in the same category in their respective genders. You know what I mean? They're the male and female equivalent of each other. So, how does that work?
It's the inequity that's just given.
Yeah. So has the rise of bikini and wellness divisions hurt female bodybuilding?
I think so. I think it just dilutes the pool, and it gives women more avenues to kind of figure out where they want to go. You've seen a lot of women's bodybuilders kind of go down to, Christina Mendoza went down to wellness.
Oh, that's right. Oh, she sure did. Yeah.
And change divisions. So.
Yeah. And now with the fit model, like when I heard about the fit model last year, I was like, they don't need what, what? Like, I really wish the IFBB was like on the stock exchange or something, because I would buy so many shares and try to like do a hostile take. Like, yeah, I need to be a board member. Yes, I just bought 80,000 shares. Yes, I need to. Well, next time we having a meeting, yes, I got some ideas.
Yeah, stockholders meeting. I will be there.
Absolutely, I'll be a friend. Actually, I'll serve everybody coffee and stuff. I don't care. Like, yes, we don't need all these female categories. I'm sorry. It's just like fit model. You know, not to get off on a tangent rant, but at the end of the day, like I've seen the articles and stuff, but it's like there's not that much difference between fit model and bikini. Like it becomes a fine line. So it's like I don't.
But eventually, I think fit model will be. So fit model now is what bikini was in the beginning. Bikini now is like what figure was.
Yeah, that's another thing.
They all kind of just progress.
You know, I was going to save that for later towards the end, but to that point, do you think the divisions, like far as what they're looking for, the women are getting bigger in all the divisions?
And that's just, it's the nature of the beast. So with bodybuilding, you know, you keep exercising, your body's going to adapt. It's going to grow.
Yeah.
And unless, I guess, with judges, they start really getting strict with avoiding or, you know, what's the term I'm looking for? Not awarding athletes that are too developed, then people are going to keep developing because they keep awarding it.
Yeah.
So.
Because like online, like when I get on Instagram or something, I see, especially when the algorithm recommends me new people to come on my feed, I look at some of these figure girls and I have to go in their bio and check, you know,
what division?
Or yeah, and or I have to read, you know, I'm like, hold on, she looks like she, like all these, like at first thing like, oh, all these women are coming into Physique. Okay, that's cool. And I look, I was like, oh, she's figure. She's figure. Damn, figure. And then like I have a friend of mine that lives in Laredo. You probably see me share some of her stuff on my photography page, Anna Santos. And granted, even though like she's short, but she's packing on a lot of muscle. And oddly enough, she got her IFBB Pro card in Physique. She was at a show and she competed in both figure and Physique, and she won both, but they gave her her pro card in Physique. But now she wants to stick to figure, and you know, you look at her videos and stuff that she posts, it's like, you a big girl, like you probably, and I've told her that myself, and like we text on the regular, it's like, hey, do what you want, but just my suggestion, you probably need to stick with Physique. But she doesn't like the what's the category where you got to do the routine? You like where you got to do the dance and stuff, and she's not like a real good routine, so she just likes to go on and do the mandatories and then get off. I was like, okay, I get it, but then it's like, girl, you're getting big, you already short too, so it's like, come on now. Has the standard gone too far in women's bodybuilding, you think?
I don't think so. I think it's improved. It kind of had a dip as far as quality and women bringing their best, and I think it's really improved a lot lately, so that's good. But we need more ladies.
I agree, and I see some women that compete, and that's another thing too. A lot of the Physique competitors that I'm seeing online look like they should be in bodybuilding. And it's like, wow. Actually, there's a lady that lives out here now. Actually, I want to say, oddly enough, it's something, I don't know what's going on in Florida, but they got Florida produces some great female athletes. Because I want to say, what's her name? Alyssa Kelsey, if I'm pronouncing her name right. Okay. She just moved out here from Florida, and she's a Physique competitor. I look at her training videos, it's like, I'm gonna say bullshit. I know. You need to be an open bodybuilding. Yeah. And then she loves the whole posing thing, which I mean, Physique has that too. Yeah. But it's like, you just packing on hey, if the judges like it, I love it. But in my opinion, like, you just way too big to be Physique.
I think there's a lot of Physique ladies that just they can cross over.
That's true too. Well, that's what happened to you, right? When Linda Murray came to you, it was like,
Yeah.
come on over to the dark side, kind of.
With me, I had to put on size. A lot of these women now already have the size.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's crazy. So, you think the female bodybuilding division is misunderstood?
I think people misunderstand attitudes and things like that as far as, women bodybuilders or even physique, larger muscular women. And let's see what else. I don't know what else other than we work out all the time and eat chicken, rice, and broccoli, which is true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and people would say, oh, I don't want to bother you, or you look, so intense and things like that. And to their credit, some of us are not really good, representatives of the sport. And that's something I personally always tried to do. I don't know.
And that's a fair, I appreciate you for that. Yeah.
Is be a good rep of the sport. And when people want to, comment or take a picture, always be willing to do that, because that's what they see and that's what they remember. Not, hey, I'm busy. You're small and I'm a pro athlete and I'm not going to bother with you type of attitude. That doesn't help. And I think there's some of that out there that just doesn't help, the overall sport, which needs as much, the division, I should say, which needs as much help as it can get.
Yeah, and then that leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth, because if I'm just a regular person, not into bodybuilding, but then I see, whether if it's male or female, I see a bodybuilder at the gas station or something, and I'm like, wow, you have a great physique. Can I take a picture? Who are you? And it's like, not right now. They shoot me up there. It's like, that makes that person, that would make me not want to support that sport. And you go back and you tell your friends, you get on something like, man, I seen this cock swole Arnold Schwarzenegger looking dude, and complimented him and want to take a picture. He just shoot me off. Whatever. Like, man. And then it's like, if you see stuff on your social media, like, oh, this content, like, makes you not even want to check out the sport or support in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? It's like they'll say, like, one bad apple sometimes does spoil the bunch. But
and for women, I think it's a little different, because we have a lot of male fans, and I think a lot of women may feel objectified by it, but it's, again, trying to keep things professional and demanding or asking that your fans be professional and respect you, because sometimes they're not. But it's just kind of having that rapport and demanding that level of respect as an athlete too.
And that leads me to another question. I'm sorry, but during your time competing, did you ever feel objectified?
I mean, you get comments and you get DMs and things like that, and it's to me, it was easy to see who was way more respectful than people that just want to get their rocks off.
Yeah.
And those types of people, you just kind of give them a thumbs up or a heart and leave them alone.
Yeah.
The other people that are more respectful and want to have a conversation, you can engage with those people. But I didn't really let it get to me. I think it is something that for a while it took a while to get used to. And
I could imagine.
Years, really.
No, I could imagine. And then technically the sport itself, because me and Booth had this conversation. I said, okay, for any bodybuilder, male or female, you work out to a certain degree where your body is like the peak human physical conditioning. Then you go to a contest, you step on stage, you're basically more or less naked, and then you got a panel of judges in the audience that's critiquing everything. So even for the males, in a sense, it is kind of objectification in a sense. You see what I'm saying? Just the whole sport itself. And then when you drill down to the fans, and sometimes I look at y'all comments, so I can only imagine what the DMs are like. And even my friend Boo, she's by no means a bodybuilder, but you've met her before. She has a nice shape, and we do photo shoots and stuff. And she showed me the DMs, and I'm like, oh wow, dang, he needs to go to the AVN Awards over in Vegas. Like, this is the wrong thing. Like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
Like, oh, goodness.
I think there's always going to be people like that. I
That's
view
true,
it
too.
as something like, and I posted this as a comment online about people making out-of-pocket comments, is you're walking down the street in Houston, downtown Houston, and you see a homeless or unhoused person talking to themselves, and you walk by and they start talking to you. What are you going to do? Keep walking, or are you going to engage with them and take what they say to heart? You know, there's a lot of those people online, and social media gives a platform to anybody with a phone and two thumbs to kind of log in.
Yeah.
So you've got super sane people and you've got people that are not right.
Yeah.
And all of them, you can't tell. It's just a picture and, you know, a comment.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
you can't let those out-of-pocket comments get to you and get engaged in that stuff. So.
Yeah, I always try to tell my friends too, it's like, you know, just be respectful. You know, I tell us like, hey, if you do see a bodybuilder on the street, male or female, or you're at your gym and one happens to walk in, you know, because they happen to be on XYZ side of town and they want to get in, it's like, just go be respectful. Hey, great physique. Can I get a picture of you? Hey, how many years you been training? What do you eat? You know, like, and I was like, from my personal experience as a fan and even as like a podcaster that specializes, it's like 90% of the time, they're gonna say you know, and engage with you. Now, you know, if they're busy or something, they're gonna most people say, hey, you know, I just need to come and get my workout. Can I get my workout in first, and then we can, you know, if you're still around, I'll take pictures and talk to you, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you know, if someone's in a hurry, of course. But if you ran the IFBB, what would you change?
Ooh.
Don't move everything to Florida. No, we can't. No, I'm gonna be the shareholders room vetoing that. We just gonna be fighting. Florida's not gonna be the new home of the IFBB.
Man, that's a tough one. I don't know, that's a tough question.
I give you mine first.
Okay.
I would try, because one thing, going back to what Brad said about back in the day when Linda Murray was competing, another thing back in the day when she was competing, do you remember when bodybuilding used to be on ESPN and Fox Sports? Mm-hmm. Even if it was like, granted, some of the contests weren't live, but like, let's say you had a show on this weekend, then they'll record it and then they'll put it on ESPN or Fox Sports like 2 weeks after. Mm-hmm. And granted, the IFBB do stream shows now, but the pay-per-view model is kind of old, you know, to where like, right, what we were talking about before we got started, like, you know, college basketball. I can get on my ESPN app right now and watch all the college basketball I want. So I think maybe the IFBB should work out a deal with ESPN, Fox Sports, Fubo, someone to air at least the major shows, your Arnold Classic, your Olympia, the Tampa Pro, the New York Pro. I would say, and the Toronto Pro is so maybe those 5 shows live on the app. Because most people, like, honestly, most competitive bodybuilders are into other sports.
Correct.
And, you know, we all got the ESPN app on our phones, so, and most fans too. You know, like myself, I'm into wrestling, football, bodybuilding, whatever. So to be able to say, hey, like the Arnold Classic is this weekend, I think, or next, it's coming up soon. Yeah. So it's like, wow, I could pull my ESPN app and watch the Arnold Classic in real time. That'd be freaking dope. And then have access to the replay, or all the other little special interviews or whatever. I would try and do that. See if ESPN is interested in going back to the 90s, so to speak. You know.
Yeah, I think the like mainstream streaming is one, and just marketing better, advertising better, just to get more butts in the seats at shows and more eyes on it outside of the bodybuilding community. Because you ask Joe Schmo on the street and they're like, what? What do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, I think in fitness we're kind of in our own echo chamber a lot.
Agreed.
And we think everybody knows. I mean, I remember when I turned pro, I was like, as soon as I stepped outside, I was like, people are going to be wanting my autograph and taking pictures, and everybody's going to know my name now that I got my pro card. It's not like that.
That sucks, though. I mean, the pro card is a huge accomplishment, and you know, I mean, it should be like that, but it isn't. It depends on the environment too. Now, if you're at the gym or something, or you're at a expo, then you know, yeah, maybe. But just like you said, you're at Kroger or something. It's like, you know, and like with you, I was like, oh, that's a really fit woman. Okay, she looks great. You know, and continue shopping.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, marketing actually. Something's got to be done with the marketing and whatnot. They really got to get in some experts. And you know, one thing I noticed, I saw someone on a podcast say that the Weeders used to try to do. They used to always cross promote. Like I'm sure you probably seen that famous video of Ronnie Coleman on a Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And he stripped down and Gina Davis was there, sitting right next to him. Like the Weeders always tried to get bodybuilding over to the mainstream, and maybe we need to go back and do that, you know. And it's like, actually, my friend that sent in the question, you know, she was like, I had sent her one of the pictures from 2021, and she was like, why isn't she She-Hulk? And I was like, I said the same thing so many times, like, I don't know, maybe she don't have an agent. Some people don't want to be in front of the camera like that, because acting and stuff, you're on set for 12, 18 hours a day, you know, is crazy, you know. And then on these superhero shows, and sci-fi shows, if they want you to wear alien makeup, that's 5 hours. That's only the acting part of it. So it's just, but I think the IFBB could try to cross promote that way. Like, hey, let's try to get some bodybuilders into mainstream stuff. You know, try that out, even if it's just a little cameo or background, because some people will watch them and be like, holy shit, who's that Arnold Schwarzenegger guy in the background that was escorting so-and-so? You know what I'm saying? You know, something, you know, or even reach out to different musicians like, hey, you need like Cardi B right now is on tour. So if she does a music video or something, hey, you need some bodybuilders in this music video, let's try to make it fit, you know? So just spitballing here.
The organization, I think, within the IFBB is something that could help with that, like agents.
Yeah.
You know, having a group of bodybuilders, hey, do you want to do acting or background stuff? Because there are, like Chelsea Dion does things. And there's some other competitors that will do, you know, acting gigs or be in music videos and things like that. But you're on your own with that. You know, the IFBB is not helping you. And again, to pull that comparison to pro sports, every pro athlete has an agent. And that agent is getting them deals, contracts, things like that.
Endorsements and stuff.
And we're just making our chicken, rice, and broccoli and going to the gym. You know, we don't have anybody that's trying to, you know, advocate for us or anything like that. We pay our dues and that's it.
Wow. And that's even like in wrestling. A lot of wrestlers are crossing over to, you know, John Cena being one of them. Batista, you know, they're crossing over to movies and killing it. And there's a wrestler, a female wrestler right now. She's in a new Star Trek series. It's a funny story. As a wrestler, I didn't like her. And then when I heard that she was in a Star Trek series, I'm like, maybe Becky Lynch ain't so bad. My homeboy kissed me. He was like, you ain't like her now because she's in Star Trek. I was like, yeah, basically. So I'm a Becky Lynch fan now. Yeah, she's killed it on Starfleet Academy. Like, so I mean, but you know, like, that's I didn't.
You know,
they could do that.
There's no athlete. You know, the NFL has the Players Association. There's no athlete association. There's nobody to advocate for us and kind of organize us or do anything like that. Wow. So I think that's a big missing part that can help the IFBB, the sport, the divisions, everything like that. So.
Wow, I did not know that. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that would be the biggest step right there, is hiring some agents and they can get on the horn and see what can be done. Yeah, see, I mean that would be cool. And I said it for years, like everybody's favorite show growing up, especially if you're an 80s baby or prior, is The Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno. Now, granted, there wasn't CGI back then, but you didn't need CGI with Lou Ferrigno. You know what I mean? Like, and even now, all these Marvel movies, like, I still stand by this. Nothing against the actress that played She-Hulk in the Marvel TV show, but I think it would have been better if they would have did like back in the day, and they would have got a female body. Even if she wasn't an actress, you could take acting classes. You know, if she has the physique and willing to get, you know, big or whatever to whatever Marvel needs her, give her acting classes and do like they did on Incredible Hulk back in, what was that, the 80s when that show was popular? Like, I think it would have been better that way. And then to your point, you're putting out, it's like, hold on, that's not CGI. That woman's really like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, she's a competitive female bodybuilder, and that and people do their research and stuff. It's like, oh, and that opens up more eyes on the sport.
Correct. I think that would help the sport too, because more people would see it, and it would become more normalized.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's really, in today's society, that's all it takes for something to be more normalized, is just more eyes on it, more eyes on it. And after a while, it's no longer taboo or strange. It's like, oh, okay, you know, bodybuilding is actually a thing, you know? There's actually people out here that's walking around like, you know, superheroes. So we're winding down here, and thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, no problem.
So should the judging criteria evolve?
I don't think it needs to evolve. I think they need to be probably more strict on following what's written. Because I haven't looked at the judging criteria, but I know that, you know, it probably, you know, people get judged outside of what is, and awarded, I should say, outside of what's the strict criteria for their divisions. So, which is how we end up with bikini going to figure going to physique, etc.
And a lot of blurred lines. Like I said a time ago, like, let's just take women's bodybuilding, for example. They should just have a poster, and let's say arguably Iris Kyle, greatest female bodybuilder, right? Just have a picture of Iris, a poster, and say, hey, if you want to win, look like that. Take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. And even for the men, if y'all want to win, here's a poster of Ronnie.
We might need AI to start doing it. You just like scan, you. Nope. Like, and then you get your score.
It's like, hey, if you guys want to win, here's a poster of Ronnie Coleman from 2001, arguably his greatest look. Firm bet, this is what y'all need to look like. If you don't look like this, not going to win. Simple as that. And so forth. You know, that's the thing about sports like bodybuilding. It's like, it's just so, I try to tell my friends outside, but I was like, it's subjective. Like, it's literally, you know, beauty's an eye of the beholder. That should be the motto.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, I give credit to the judges because it's hard.
Yeah. Oh,
when you're looking at
shout out to all the judges.
5 people that look basically the same, super conditioned at their peak. You know, it's definitely difficult to kind of distinguish and pick, but.
And sometimes I need to get a judge on the podcast, because like to your point, when it's like that, it's like, what does it come down to? Does it come down to who has the best smile, or who's posing where, look the best? You know, when it comes to women, it's like, hey, whose toes were painted the prettiest? I don't know. Like, and I used to want to be a judge back when I was younger, than like, you know. You're ignorant when you're young, you don't know, and then you start paying attention. And even as a fan, it's like, dang, like, you got the top 3, look all good. You can't give everyone first place. Like, you can't have a tie. You know, this isn't the NFL with that tie BS, you know? It's like, someone's got to win. How do you win? How do you pick it? What can fans actually do to support?
I think going to shows. And that's a thing with, especially a lot of the fans of women's bodybuilding. They are fans online and on the computer, but they do not go anywhere for whatever reason.
I agree.
So get out there, buy a ticket, buy a plane ticket, a bus, train ticket, and go to a show. You know, support your favorite athlete by putting your butt in the seat.
I'm a firm believer, put your money where your mouth is. I've been saying that for years. I've even said that in different like female bodybuilding groups on Facebook. Like, you know, hey, like you said, at the end of the day, not to get too much off topic, we live in a capitalist society. Money makes the world go round. Yep. And like you said at the very start of this whole show, is that, you know, if the money's not there, then things are going to start getting canceled and removed around and so forth. And it's like, yeah, being online and showing support is cool, but that doesn't pay the bills.
Right.
You know, and even like for people that live in a big to decent sized city, like even just go to your local shows. You know what I mean?
True,
you know,
true.
I mean, granted, if you don't have enough money to jump up and go to Vegas or Toronto or Tampa, like just go and support to your local shows, and maybe even try to talk to the promoter. It's like, hey, you know, I'm a huge female bodybuilding fan. Can you at least next year consider getting a guest poser? You know what I mean? That might be a start. You know, like, hey, can you book Andrea Shaw to guest pose next year? You know, a huge fan. You know, I could probably try to help you bring, you know, butts and seats, and they might think about that or whatever, you know. It's like, oh God, who's the promoter out here in Texas? Steve, I want to butcher his last name, Steve Kuklo or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, God forgive me for butchering his name. But he has the lady I talked about earlier, Alyssa Kelsey. She's physique. She's a big girl. She guest poses at his show almost every year. You know what I'm talking about now? Yeah, you know, and that, you know, that's the start.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's why I always try, especially now since I'm off on Saturdays for my day job. It's like, hey, if there's a dope show in San Antonio or Austin, I'm gone. You know, like, you know, God. And I look at it like this. Me personally, I can't go out here and preach to the masses if I'm not going to do it myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why I try to let it be known, like, hey, this Saturday I'm going to Austin, you know, for XYZ show, kick it with the homies, you know, or I'm going to. Was that back in September when I went to see my friend Anna for there was a San Antonio Pro, you know, hey, you know, hey, we're out there, support, met a lot of great people, and you know, had a blast, you know, and came back to Houston. You know, it's like, well, if you live in a state like Texas where it's not too far to get to San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, where it's just a couple of hours drive. You don't even need a plane ticket, just hop in your car. Go stop at Buc-ee's, you know, and do the thing.
Absolutely. Get some beaver nuggets for your favorite athlete.
Exactly. You know what? I didn't think about that. That'd be like the ultimate.
Want to make some friends? Stop at Buc-ee's and go to a women's bodybuilding show.
So, yeah. Actually, you know what? I might do that the next show I go to. Like, hey, everyone come on my podcast. I got these beaver nuggets. Come on now, come on. Don't tell me you ain't got time now. No. Got these. Hey, give you 5 bags of beaver nuggets. Just come on, sit down. Give me 25 minutes. Just need 25 minutes of your time. That's it. We can show you it. I'm gonna do that. Mark my words. Just have them taped on me and stuff. Are you giving those away?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to sit in this chair and this camera a little bit. Yeah, I'll hook you up.
There you go.
Oh, as we close this out, how can people find you on social media?
I am on Instagram at Asha Hadley. So you can message me, comment. I'm on Facebook, same name. I have a website, ashahadley.com. I'm a registered dietitian, so typically I stick with more medical and wellness things, weight management. I don't do contest prep, so if you want that, do not hit me up. But if you need anything else, I can definitely help you. So
nice.
Feel free to reach out.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to have you come on here too, because like not only you being a former competitor, but you being a registered dietitian, that's what you went to school for. It's like that'd be a cool insight and conversation to have. And then like technically too, you being a registered dietitian, when you competed, did you do like your own meal plans? Oh, you lived that all to your coach?
I did not, yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I thought like, it's like you would do your own stuff like, oh, I went to school for this. Let me do chicken rice, blah, 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 however much you need.
I tried to do my own diets in the beginning. It didn't work out. So I completely left that to my coach. I didn't count my macros once they gave me a diet. I just looked at what food and how much I was supposed to eat, and I ate it.
Wow.
So it's very different when I think you have to manage yourself versus,
So
just
that makes sense.
do what you're told.
That makes sense. Because I remember before we go out here, Ronnie Coleman, the last couple he's been on all over podcasts and stuff, and he said, when people ask, it was like, well, how did you know what to take and this, that, and he's like, I did. My coach told me. He's like, he's like, whatever he said to take and how much and what time.
Yeah.
I did it, and it was like, oh, okay, we got 8-time Mr. Olympia, arguably one of the greatest of all time and the strongest. So,
and a lot of times we're so tired and depleted, you can't.
That makes sense too,
you don't want to use the extra energy to figure that stuff out. So, you get with your coach. Your coach is like, do this, eat this, do this at this time, and you're like, okay.
Wow, nice. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. I owe
You're
you
welcome.
one.
Some beaver nuggets.
Consider it done. Next time I have beaver nuggets waiting on you. And thank you everybody for watching this. Support us on the socials. Share, like this episode on YouTube. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves and each other. We're out of here.